past few weeks, we have observed with great concern the malicious attacks and deliberate effort to blackmail anti-corruption agencies through sponsorship, influencers, insensitive opinion publication in some national dailies, online and electronic platforms, all targeted at discouraging anti-corruption efforts and shielding people who have actually looted this country from being investigated. The pattern is clear. There is an unfolding plot of serious move to backpedal all the progress made by anti-corruption in this country. We cannot continue to allow our country to be hijacked by these corrupt individuals who did not constitute any significant number but keeping an inequality. Now, there are a number of ways in which these corrupt people and their enablers have facilitated corruption and attack on anti-corruption institutions in Nigeria.
According to our judicial and enablers, corruption constitutes a major challenge to anti-corruption work in Nigeria, thereby supporting looters who have repeatedly used their influence to manipulate the judicial process and system to block and delay the arrest or prosecution of suspects.
To manipulate the judicial process and system to block and delay or arrest or prosecute of suspects. This blatant disregard for the rule of law has eroded public trust and imposed the perception that Nigerian democracy is nothing more than a facade. Clearly, the judiciary is not living up to its responsibility of ensuring that the rule of law and provision of the constitutions are upheld. As you can see that many Nigerians, they are even afraid to go to court because if you don't have money to bribe, you may not get justice. And if the administrative justice system is working against the general public, then it means that people will lose confidence in our judiciary. We also know that there are men and women of integrity in the judiciary, and that is why they need to rise up to rescue the image of the judiciary. Corruption enablers in Nigeria. Nigerians have witnessed with alarm numerous cases featuring a high number of foreign enablers from Switzerland, Monaco, Panama, British Virgin Island, and the United Kingdom facilitating corruption. Enablers from the UK are particularly strongly linked to Nigerian cases. Of course, Nigeria also has a numerous number of domestic enablers.
And the risk is that the present tragedy of anarchy and self-help, in which more and more Nigerians are buying guns, are using those guns against their neighbors, against road users, against farmers, against everybody in the street, is the path to anarchy and destruction. We must stop this level of corruption from continuing to grow if we are to survive as a country.
About the need to uphold the rule of law and accountability. That attacks on institutions that have a mandate of defending our democracy by ensuring public leaders are held to account is a critical work and task for every Nigerian. And I think something we must take from here, that it is reprehensible, it's not acceptable, this amount of attacks on anti-corruption agencies.
Opinion leaders, including journalists, academics, and social media influencers, have the power to shape public discourse and raise public awareness about the negative impacts of corruption by using their platforms to expose corrupt practices, hold public officials accountable, and advocate anti-corruption measures. They can help mobilize public opinion and pressure governments State Anti-Corruption Commission to facilitate the effective execution of the Commission's duties. Nigerian police must avoid actions that may portray it as being submissive to politicians.
Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and celebrity barman Pascal Okechukwu, popularly known as Cubana Chief Priest, have reached an agreement to resolve the Naira abuse charge outside of court. The out-of-court settlement was disclosed when the proceedings resumed on Thursday after Cubana Chief Priest appeared before Justice Kehinde Ogundare to face 3 counts related to abusing the national currency at a social gathering which is in violation of the Central Bank Act of 2007. This is coming after on April 16, the EFCC filed a 3-count charge against him over alleged Naira abuse and was arraigned the following day at the Federal High Court in Lagos. Kehinde Ogundare, the judge, thereafter granted him bail in the sum of 10 million naira with 2 responsible sureties in like sum and ruled that the bail conditions must be perfected within 7 days. Cubana was released to his lawyer, who must give an undertaking to produce him later and will be remanded in a correctional facility if his lawyer fails to do so. The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has adjourned till May 17 for the continuation of trial on the money laundering suit filed against Binance Holdings Limited and 2 of its executives, Tigran Gambayan and Nadeem Anjarwalla. At the proceedings, counsel to the defendant, Tony Kurukubo, told the court that he was yet to be served the additional proof of evidence. The court by leave said the court that efforts made by him to serve Gambayan the documents in Kuje prison on April 30 were met with vehement refusal by him to receive the service. The trial judge, Justice Emeka Nwite, ordered that Binance's counsel be served the documents in court, and matter was subsequently adjourned after the service till May 17 for trial. This is coming after, on April 23, the Federal High Court, Abuja, after listening to the arguments between the prosecution counsel and that of Gambayan, fixed May 17 to rule on his request, while his counsel, Mark Modi, had tried to convince the court why he should be granted bail. University of Abuja branch of the Academic Staff Union of Universities has instigated an indefinite strike to draw attention to developments bordering the union. The union announced its decision to embark on the strike today at the end of its congress held at the permanent site of the institution. Members of the Uni Abuja ASU have been at loggerheads with the outgoing Vice Chancellor, Professor Abdul Sharid Naala, and the Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman, over the processes for the appointment of a new Vice Chancellor. The chairman, Uni Abuja ASU, Silvanus Ugo, said the university's miscellaneous Provision Act 1993 as amended 2003 and 2012, as well as Section 3, subsections 1 and 2, empowers only the governing council to advertise the VC seat when declared vacant, and urged that no other organ or individual is legally vested with the power to initiate the procedure of appointing a successive vice chancellor. In view of the federal government decision to address student safety, the National Safe School Response Coordination Center Commander, Hamid Abodurin, has highlighted the importance of including off-campus accommodations, including student hostels, within the Safe School framework. This is coming after, on February 9, 2024, students of the Federal University of Technology, Akure Futa, protested against the incessant robbery attacks that had been ravaging the student community to strengthen campus security in tertiary institutions, stressing that the need for comprehensive protection plans involves both on-campus and off-campus situations. He also said the unique engagement required for tertiary institutions due to the maturity of students involves both student union leadership and university management, while the security personnel will receive specialized training to handle challenges in both settings. Abonturin also spoke on the necessity of a holistic approach involving governmental and societal efforts to address insecurity, encompassing various strategies from governmental resources to societal contributions like providing information to security agencies and offering psychosocial support to affected individuals within the community. Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board says the 2024 UTME result is not in any paper format and advised Nigerians to be wary of any candidate parading printed result slips. JAM spokesperson Dr. Fabian Benjamin in a statement said the information became necessary as some individuals were already circulating printed result slips on social media, stating that the results at the moment are not and cannot be found on the JAM's website. The registrar, Professor Ishak Oloyede, also said the results of 64,000 plus out of the 1.9 million candidates who sat at the examination were withheld by the board and will be subjected to investigation. Muslim Lawyers Association of Nigeria has declared that there are many defects and flaws in the current 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. National President of the group, Dr. Kazim Olajide Olaniyan, who disclosed this at a press conference to herald the 15th Annual General Conference of the Association in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, said Nigeria needs a homegrown constitution that will address the current challenges facing the country, adding that the 1999 Constitution was drafted during the military rule and has many defects and flaws. He also said a homegrown will address the current problems the country is facing and also use the medium to appeal to the government to address the issue of the fuel scarcity, food crisis and inflation in the country. Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the issuance of notices of contempt proceeding against the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Olayemi Cardoso, and the Director of Legal Services Department, Salam Alada Kofo, over their alleged failure to obey an order of the court. They were said to have failed to comply with the February 2022 Garnishi order, absolute made in a ruling by Justice Inyang Ekwo, directing the central bank to pay a judgment debt of 63.7 million naira and $1 million awarded against the federal government for the unlawful arrest and detention of a German Martin Gegeng Aima by men of the Nigerian Immigration Service. The notices form 49 requiring Cardoso and Kofo to show cause why the order of committal should not be made against them, endorsed by a registrar of the court, are specifically addressed to Cardoso and Kofo, and in the notice the two CBN senior officials are directed to attend the court on a date to be communicated to them. In the notice of the consequence of the disobedience to the order Form 48, earlier issued to the two CBN officials, they were reminded of what would happen to them should they persist in disregarding the order. The ECOWAS Code equally ordered the Nigerian government to remove the German from its watch list and to immediately and unconditionally release his German passport, which was arbitrarily and unlawfully seized by agents of the Nigerian government. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be right back after this break. Don't go anywhere.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country. You human trafficker. Honorable Student, you understand.
stakeholders involved, so no agreement with the EU, but
everyday politics.
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought a very firmly. Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Welcome back to the rest of our stories. Senate has approved the age limits to 18 years for admission into universities. The Senate said any adjustments to the age limit would require proper legislative procedures, whether they involve lowering or raising the limit. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Adeyemi Adaramodu, said the minimum age requirement for admission is not a law. This is coming after Professor Tahir Maman, the Minister of Education, said the government is thinking about changing the minimum wage for entering universities to 18 years old. Senate President Godswill Akpabio has assured Nigerians that the National Assembly and the executive arm of government would work collaboratively to give them a living wage and better working conditions. He made the declaration in a statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Eseme Yibo, to congratulate the workers as they commemorate the 2024 May Day. Akpabio, in the message, extolled the sterling qualities that stood out to the Nigerian workers, saying that the Nigerian workers are noted for his patriotism, hard work, resilience, and dedication to duty. Speaking on this year's theme for Workers' Day, ensuring safety and health at work in a changing climate, Akpabio promised that the National Assembly under his leadership was more committed to ensuring the best working conditions for the Nigerian workers. The Senate President opined that the theme for this year's celebration was apt and in tune with international best practices, assuring that Nigeria would not be left behind. To business. House of Representatives Committee on Petroleum Resources and the Downstream and Midstream has called on security agencies to arrest holders of the premium motor spirit, also known as petrol. The committee also assured Nigerians of the availability of petrol in stock, stressing that the logistical challenges which made the product scarce were being addressed. Addressing a press conference at the National Assembly complex in Abuja, the co-chair of the committee and chairman, House Committee on Petroleum Resources in the Downstream Sector, Ikenga Okochinyere, said there was enough petrol to service the country for about 30 days. He also said the distribution to marketers was disrupted by challenges of transport vessels, which were supposed to take the products from offshore to onshore, and strongly frowned on the activities of middlemen who have taken advantage of the short disruption of supply to maximize profit and generate inordinate gains for themselves at the detriment of the people. The committee has assured Nigerians that the challenges would be over in a few days, while regulators in the value chain had pledged to address the issues. In view of the persistent fuel scarcity in different locations, the federal government says it has begun a 15-day emergency fuel supply to ensure the commodity circulates across the length and breadth of the country. The government also said vessels importing premium motor spirit will continue to berth at the shore to discharge petrol to different depots from where the product will be distributed to different filling stations. The Major Energies Marketers Association of Nigeria had in a statement said its members in Apapa and other locations in Lagos had been receiving 300 million liters of fuel from 8 vessels this week. And this comes after the Southwest Regional Coordinator of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Ayo Cardoso, said the development was separate from the 240 million liters offloaded at various depots. Cardoso also said more vessels would keep arriving in Nigeria for 2 weeks and would ensure continuous distribution of petrol to filling stations, adding that each state of the Federation has its allocations, saying the same will be delivered to reduce the queues at filling stations. Federal government says it will stop granting licenses to gas companies with no capacity to build pipelines for gas distribution. The government said it became necessary to discourage the transportation of compressed natural gas through the roads. The Minister of State for Petroleum and Gas, Ekperikpe Ekpo, who disclosed this when he was in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, and visited Abeokuta for an on-the-spot assessment of Saturday's CNG explosion at Itoshin, said the CNG gas truck owned by Gasco Marine had suffered a brake failure which rammed into the road barricade and went up in flames, killing 1 person and raising some vehicles. Ekpo, who was received into the state by Governor Dapo Abiodun and his deputy Noimot Salako Oyedele, said he was sent by President Bola Tinubu to see to the root cause of the incident and sympathized with the people of Ogun State. The gas minister also said there was the need to stop virtual gas transportation, saying the federal government was putting efforts in top gear to build pipelines for seamless transportation of CNG, adding that it would prevent explosions on the road while saving lives in poverty. You're still watching the news on ATN. Up next, international tidbits. United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken has advised Hamas to accept the latest proposal for a ceasefire deal with Israel. Blinken said the time is now for an agreement that would free hostages imposed on nearly 7 months of war in Gaza Strip. This is coming after months of talks, while Hamas said the freeing of all hostages it holds must bring a permanent halt to the war and the withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza. U.S. Secretary of State made the call during talks with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has vowed to launch the offensive on Rafah, which he says is Hamas's last stronghold in Gaza. But Blinken said Israel has made very important compromises in ceasefire efforts, adding that it is now up to Hamas to get the deal done. Here is now ATN Sports News. Super Falcons goalkeeper Chiamaka Nnadozie is up for another individual award in France after she was nominated for the National Union of Professional Footballers Goalkeeper of the Year award. Nnadozie was earlier this week voted the best goalkeeper in the D1 Arkema in French Women's League. The shot stopper was also named the D1 Arkema Team of the Season. Nnadozie has so far enjoyed a stellar campaign for Paris FC, earning global attention for her penalty-saving heroics, and has saved 7 penalties this season, the highest by any goalkeeper in Europe. The award ceremony will be held on Monday, May the 13th. arrest of Obi, he says on his X handle. There's a report of an attempt of arrest on Peter Obi by Tinubu's government over Peter Obi's consistent refusal to back down